Hey, this is the Antisocial Socialite back at it again. Shout out to all the wonderful new subscribers and returning friends. Apologies for all the technical difficulties. You know, when you're doing the whole Bluetooth headphones on the mobile, sometimes they're just giving a lot of trouble. So this is just going to be a quick rant, maybe like a 10-minute rant about something I was thinking about recently. Not really recently, but in the last couple of days with this whole Jeannie Mai thing. Jeannie Mai and Jeezy. I mean, I'm not really going to give my thoughts on it too much because I understand that Jeannie Mai came from a very troubled background. She had a long period of sexual abuse at the hands of somebody that was like a cousin in her family, somebody that her mother trusted. And the mother was so headstrong. She basically went off with a man that her father didn't approve of. And then in the end, the man wasn't really what she thought he was going to be. The man was abusive. That translated into the way she raised her children. And Jeannie Mai had a lot of anger and, I don't want to say bitterness or resentment, but she was angry with her mother because of the way she raised her. And also the fact that when she came to her mother about the abuse, she didn't support her. Okay. And so she carried that anger into her first marriage. And she had allegedly a lot of feminist ideals. And obviously, she vowed she would never have children. Okay. And so I can understand why the husband that, has come out was 14 years, couldn't get a child out of Jeannie Mai. Shout out to George in the building. I saw Sir Obadiah earlier and Rebecca Yu. Shout out to you guys. Hi, thanks for coming through. And so I can understand why he was angry at Jeannie Mai for going and remarrying, and then now she's giving this man a child, right? Some people say that, he was cheating, and at the end of the marriage, it was a bit too quick how he moved on. But obviously, the relationship probably had been on the rocks for a long time before they actually finalized the divorce. And so once the man realized the marriage was over, he could have moved on, and this new partner of his could have been, a comfort to him. And then apparently Jeannie Mai had some slick things to say about the new woman, even though, part of my thing is this: you guys knew that didn't want children, and he did. And I'm not going to blame him for Jeannie Mai's behavior, but what I am going to say is these are the kind of discussions you have to have before you say I do, and not just hope that the person will change their mind. But that's not really the point of this. Shout out to George. Yeah, I didn't know she went through that. That's sad. Yeah, I did a whole video on it because when Jeannie Mai made the statement about she wants to submit to her husband, I started kind of looking at a little bit of who she was. And she has a show with her mother. But in one of the episodes of her with Mama Mai, she actually did talk about how she felt. And it was kind of sad because after Jeannie Mai ran away at like 16, she didn't speak to her mother for like 10 years. And after Jeannie Mai disappeared and they lost contact, Jeannie Mai, reinvented herself. She threw herself into her career. She made a success of herself despite not really having any familial support. But the mother went and confronted the boy, and he confessed. And Jeannie was like, all I wanted to hear you say is I believe you. Like, everything kind of would have been okay had I known you were in my corner. But when I came to you and told you, you said, I don't believe you, and he wouldn't do such a thing because he's like your cousin. So there was a big thing, but I did a whole video on it because it kind of explained a little bit of who Jeannie Mai was and why her first marriage broke down and why she didn't want children and things like this. And I was just looking at it because, at the moment I'm currently in central London and there's a lot of students here. And I was looking at this thing about Asian women with black men, because there's a lot here in central London who come as foreign students to study. And I was thinking, shout out to O'Shea, he's right when he says the number of black men going to non-black women is going to rise, because the stigma of dating black men is going down. Interracial dating between men of other, like, who are black, is going to go up. You know, I remember watching a video once of these girls, and they talked about how cute Blasian babies were. And one of the things that we know is very prevalent in the Eastern world is this idolization of cuteness and very petite and slenderness. And so as I was looking at some of the things, you know, a lot of Asian women, what is fat in their cultures is seen as slender here in the West. And one of the reasons why the women said they like the idea of having Blasian babies and dating black men is because they would have been considered big for their culture. But black men, unfortunately, afternoon girl, how you doing? Unfortunately, because we have an epidemic of obesity in the West, women who are considered overweight in their own communities will be looked at as slim and, you know, fun size pocket rockets by other groups of men. And don't get it twisted, you know, Asian women, they are obsessed with white men as well. Okay, they love the idea of having a white man. You know, China recently said that they're going to work on improving the masculinity of the Chinese man. Why? Because Chinese men tend to have soft features. And as the world is opening up more and more, these women are getting exposed not just to white men, but they're getting exposed to the cream of the crop of all men. And so, whereas before only the white man was on the Chinese man's heels, now these women who are getting rejected and called leftover women and Christmas cake women, they're recognizing that there's a market for the thicker, quote unquote, which is not even that thick, the thicker woman in other groups. And I don't want to sound harsh, I don't want to be rude or mean or nasty, but for men who are starved of fit women, slender women, soft feminine women, even a woman who is not perfect, which is obviously no one, but you know what I mean, the highest degree of femininity and looks, these women become a phenomenal option for a lot of men who are not able to get what they want in the West. And whereas before there was a stigma, I know we talked about the video of the little girl being trained to disrespect black people, but we have to remember a lot of the things that we enjoy in the West is produced in the East. So they're exposed to our culture and they're open to the idea, even if it's not publicly talked about. Now, some parts of Asia, you know, interracial dating and the cultural melting pot is a reality. So there isn't really that big of a deal, but other places are a lot more closed off. So that's one way. Afropolitan Podcast says, how you doing? I'm doing well. I've got about 15 minutes. So I said, let me just, this came in my mind as I'm walking through the streets of central London, and I'm seeing a lot of Southeast Asian women. And I'm thinking the Asians are coming. A little bit. I'm joking a little bit, but there's some seriousness in there. Some of these women who would be considered fat in their cultures would almost be considered underweight in other places. And so I'm thinking one of the ways that black women have trained their men to date out is actually by not taking care of their body. Because if the men have an attraction to a good hip to waist ratio, no one is saying that black men want stick thin waif like women. But if they're so starved of women who are feminine, who are reasonably fit and things like this, you've just trained your men to date out. Another conversation I got into recently, but I'm on the phone, so I can't really share it. There was a video, it's almost like a TikTok, of this woman. She comes in, she's got a new weave, and like the guy throws the laptop and jumps off the couch to dance with her. And it's like the caption is, if your man doesn't look at you like this, like if he doesn't celebrate when you get a new hairdo, like basically get rid of the guy. And although it was funny, it was cute, everybody was concerned for the laptop. Where did it go? Did it survive the way he threw it as he jumped up to dance with this woman? But you know, I gotta be the rotten egg, I gotta be the bearer of the bad news. And I'm like, who knew black women were that excited about wearing white people's hair on their head? Yeah, I said that. I know that's a bit cheeky. You could have just let them have their moment. But I said, you know, black women complain about allegedly black men preferring non-black women. But to an extent, you train black men to desire white features. Okay? When you have that Brazilian all the time, when you have that bleached face, when you wear those blue contacts or that blonde hair, that man after a while is going to think, why do I need a fake white woman when I can just get a real white woman? Most black men are not with white women, but the number of black men going to white women is going to go up, because we had the hardware, they had the software. But now they are also going and getting the hardware. They're doing the squats. They're putting on that little bit of extra weight and chiseling it down. They understand, if I can't be that stick-like waif that a lot of high-value white men like, I can become a curvaceous, you know, exotic-looking woman, and I can get me men of other races. And, you know, Asian men, they don't mind curves. A lot of the men from South America, they don't mind curves. So you don't have to be restricted to a high-value white man to get a high-value man. If you're not the cream of the crop as a white woman, you can go and get a high-value man from other races. We know Adele has become, you know, the latest couple. I saw a thumbnail by O'Shea again. I wasn't even sure if this was a Kardashian, because now that, you know, Adele has lost that weight, she doesn't really look like the same person anymore. And now she's got that stereotypical look that the Kardashians popularized. I really don't know. Is that Chloe or is that Adele? It doesn't really matter. The point is this: she's putting in that work to compete for the men who's got that money. Whether she's got more money, she still wants a man who's got good money. And she's doing what it takes to get that man. And a lot of black women, rather than actually popularizing the black beauty standard, no one's saying you got to be Afro soles all the time, and, you know, no hot comb and no cream has touched your hair ever. I'm not saying that. That's not my thing. Okay. Shout out to Manu12. He said, good afternoon to Antisocial and the chatters. Yeah, I haven't got a clue, but it's Adele. But she's got the whole dark roots growing out business, the blonde. She's got the same kind of duck lips. Like, she's another replica of the lot at this point. But she's doing what it takes to compete. And that's the next thing. Women of other races, shout out to Shay Sade. She recently did a live stream. Should black women compete for black men? At this point, you don't really have a choice, because the gate is down and a lot of black men are realizing the electric fence has lost its power. So if you're going to break free, go now. No, I'm joking a little bit, but I'm being a little bit serious. With so many high-profile black men coming out and openly saying, we just prefer exoticals, a lot of black men are getting ideas about their station. I'm joking. They're just getting ideas, and they're recognizing, you know what, I don't have to settle. I don't have to take, you know, fill the blank, because I know I'm going to get a lot of hate if I end that sentence. Okay. So you think about the stereotypes of the black woman, and yeah, you can end that sentence for me. Just don't put it in the chat, because everybody's getting gunned for their chats. Okay. The Afropolitan podcast and these analogies. Shout out to every other race. No, we don't want every other race. Okay. We've got to keep the black men here. We've got to keep the black men here. So the fake hair, again, sometimes you can wear the fake hair, but it's an afro. Sometimes you can wear the fake hair and it's got, you know, it's got something, it looks like something that grew out of a black person's head. because I'm not a anti-weaver, okay? If you like weave, even if it's straight weave, that's fine. But what had irritated me was the hypocrisy. A lot of black women will complain that black men allegedly want exoticals, but you are the one that trained him to like that exotical, especially if you prioritize that weave over everything else. You have debt because of that weave. The last money you have is for that weave. You can't go to the gym because of the weave. You can't go climbing or hiking or cycling or out with the boys because of that weave. And so if you're prioritizing that weave, Becky doesn't have to worry about it falling off. She doesn't have to worry about it kinking up when it gets wet. She throws some conditioner and she's gone. So again, I know it sounds like a harsh thing to say, but it is what it is. So are we training our men to appreciate other races of women? Because what a lot of black women don't realize, another group of women don't have to be perfect. They just have to be better than what the man is currently getting. If she's more feminine, more cooperative, more in shape, more real, he said, why am I going to settle for this when I can get that? Why am I going to get a 4 when I can at least get a 6 or a 7? It's not a 10, but it's better than what I've got. You see, shout out to everyone in the building. George said, it's like these other groups of women seeing black women going for their men. So they're going to be like, what's good for me? So they're going to be like, what's good for one? Not all, mind you. Wait, I can't read. You see, the thing about it is this. It's like these other groups of women seeing black, I think it's black men. Wait, it's like these other groups of men seeing black women. Is it black men going for their men? Well, black women can go for other groups of men. But the thing about it is this, if that's correct, black women will have it harder to divest because of what the man is looking for in a woman. You see, it's only black men that really deal with egalitarianism, which is the next thing. So stick a pin in case I forget, which I probably will. Okay. Other groups of men are more patriarchal. Black women and the black community is matriarchal. And so these other groups of men, they understand, can I tame this woman? Can I correct her? What are her priorities? What are her values? This is one of the reasons why black women are jealous of black men, because hypergamy is universal. And a man can go from anywhere and find women, with all due respect, who are worse than him. And she can look up to him. He can elevate her. But can a man of other races elevate black women? Sometimes not, because they're so educated, they put down so many roots. It's hard to take these women who have been molded, as Jap would say, too old to mold. He cannot take her and make her into a wife because she hasn't necessarily been raised to be a wife. So that's the next point. That's point number 4 or 5. Okay, let's go back to egalitarianism. One of the things Jeannie Mai said she loved about Jeezy that made her hot under the collar is when she watches him serve the children before everybody else. Because in her culture, you serve the elders first and then you come down the line and the children come last. So when black women are like, I want to be alpha females, I want to be the woman and the man, I'm strong and independent, it should be 50-50, it should be a partnership. Guess what? For the women who don't get that, congratulations, you've just trained your man for another woman. If you want your man to stay your man, you got to let that man be the man. And I know that's a bad saying because it's not let the man. Who are you to let him do anything? Okay, but you understand what I mean. Why are you trying to drive from the passenger side? You be the woman, let the man be the man in the relationship. But because black women are so in their masculine, they don't understand how to let go of control. But a woman from another culture, she's happy to go along for the ride. She sits in the passenger seat quietly. You, on the other hand, are grabbing the wheel and shouting in his ear while he's trying to drive. So he's thinking, why have I got to deal with this when I can just go and find a woman who knows how to be quiet? Let me just say it raw because my time is getting short. Okay, so hypergamy is universal. A woman will find it hard to jump anywhere because after a certain age, for the men who are family orientated, they're going to find it hard to get a woman who is older, unless it's like Western culture where it's like we don't just get married for for kids, we get married for companionship. Okay, shout out to every other raid ad vitam aeternum. I'm not black, man, and I'm not from the West. Okay, cool. Welcome. Oh, wait. Oh, my gosh. Sorry, guys. Shout out to New in the building. Peace to you. The word is exotical, typically meaning not black. Yeah, man. You training him to like those exoticals, man. Those exoticals. No. True. I don't have to be the best, just better. Sorry. I typed too. You can't type and I can't read, so it's fine. We can't tame women born in the West. They are too spoiled and masculine. They lost education about how to be a wife from a young age. Once upon a time, you would groom the child from a young age. You give her the little pram with the dolly. She's got her mini kitchen and, she was the teacher for all the teddy bears. She got her tea set and she would sit down. Now they're giving her doctor's uniform. Again, no one here is against women being educated. But if your education is more priority than your ability to be a wife and a mother, notice I say priority. You can be a doctor, a teacher, a lawyer. All those professions that we know, like, for example, someone like Kevin Samuels would say, oh my God, I hate these professions kind of thing. But he's not saying that because he's against women being educated. He doesn't want you to be illiterate and unable to write your own name. He wants you to understand priorities. A lot of these women in these foreign countries are highly educated and more educated than us. But they have their priorities in order. They understand once I get married, in fact, it doesn't even matter whether we have kids or not. I may be the boss at work, but the boss title stays at work, which is what Jeannie Mai said when she made that statement like a year ago about I want to submit. She said it gets tiring always being the one doing everything. I want to leave work at work, and when I come home, I'm in the secondary position and he is the leader and the boss. But how many black women can really say that? Or do we want to be the boss everywhere and then we wonder why we've got emasculated males? Okay? And then I said there was another point. That was the egalitarian point, and I forgot the other one. You see, not fun, not a fan of Jeannie at all. We may not be a fan. There's maybe some things in there. We know she made that dark meat comment years ago, which was obviously was out of control. But is it really any worse than what a lot of black women have said? If anyone can remember what the fifth point was, that would really help. But if you can't, then I might have to end this video. But I was just looking at a number of the things that black women are doing that is causing black men to really look at women of other races as a much better option. And to understand that black men are not born wanting white women. They're not born wanting exoticals. They're not born wanting this or that. The black woman is the black man's first choice. But the deal is so unsweet that you're almost forcing him into the arms of another race of woman. Not smiling, not being cooperative, not being family orientated, not being raised to be a wife. Instead, you're raised to be an employee and serve another group of men. Well, Jeannie Mai made a statement saying that something about she doesn't like dark meat, meaning she doesn't like black men. That was years ago. And somebody dug that comment up and exposed her for saying it. You see? So people are saying, how come Jeezy can overlook such a basically racist statement? But again, it's like, is it any worse than abort black babies, abort black boys, use black men as bullet bags? Or, the rate of black men is, being killed is, let's say, 1 every 6 hours. Let's get it down to 1 every 4 hours. I've heard black women say things like this, almost dancing on the graves of men who were alive, let alone dead. And so her saying, I'm Asian and I would never really want to date a black man. Is it really worse than some of the things we hear black women saying? I know this whole thing with the divested, that avatar is going around at the moment. Everybody's talking about it, but that's really these women telling you who their allegiance is to. I'm not going to say the name, but for those who know the black and white avatar, where you have a tree, and on one side you have a black man hanging, and on the other side you have a woman on a swing. I mean, she's just letting you know that the same system that gives her the freedom to swing on that tree is the same system killing black men. But that's a conversation for another day, because I said what I have to say about the divestment movement. And any woman who subscribes to that kind of channel, to just avoid her, because, she's got more problems than is worth even worrying about. That channel is doing the Lord's work, because any woman subscribed to that channel, she's just the enemy of black people. So you just avoid her, because she's big mad that she can't go anywhere. If you had a white man at home, you wouldn't be online talking all day about black men. But that's a conversation for another day. So black women set themselves up to be in a position where they can't be hypergamous. They're so masculine, they only attract feminine men. And that's another reason why, men who want to be leaders and leaders of feminine women, they're just going to go where they can get what they really want. Where are we? Shout out to Flying Monkey Inc. in the building. Manu once he said, do little girls still play house these days? Or is it called condo? You're a mess. It probably is. Because I did a video once of the Barbie, and now, like I said, I was in a supermarket. The black Barbie was very small. The selection of dolls was small. But what I asked myself was, if you have only the option to put one black Barbie on the shelf, why did you pick the skinhead one that's got like bright colored clothes and like piece of her head shaved off? Like, out of all of the black Barbies, and there are attractive, feminine, girly black Barbies, because there's a ton of them. There's a lot of Barbie out there, dolls with outfits and everything. Why did you pick the skinhead one to put in the shop? Listen, don't get me started about the Barbie, man. That Barbie, I've got a whole video, and I showed you the other dollies that they put on that shelf. The one, the head, and you comb the hair and you can plait it and everything. And obviously little dolls, the regular Barbie size dolls, cute, feminine, girly. The one black Barbie has got half her headpiece shaved off. Why? If you don't see what they're doing, I can't help you. So yeah, they probably do have condo Barbie. She's strong and independent. She was about liking dark meat, but for fun, not for marriage. You see, maybe she just said that because she had a white husband. But now she's come to Jeezy, and she can get maybe more emotionally what she wants. Maybe she's done the work and everything, and she realized maybe she'll never get a high value white man again. I don't know. I don't want to speculate. But, I don't want to say people change, because I know I'd feel some kind of way if someone said something like that about black people to me. But again, it's still, is it better than what he's currently getting and used to? If he feels it is, he's going to let that comment go. Do you know what I mean? Like, how many things do black men let go to deal with black women? But they don't get any props for that. And yet she makes one racist comment, which is one too many, but okay. And everybody's like losing their mind over it. So is it any different from the prince getting dressed up in a Nazi uniform and then marrying Meghan Markle? Not really. I mean, she played him good. She's older. She's more experienced. I mean, he knows he's not going to get a sniff of the throne. He's always had a bit of a rebellious side. You know, he was a bit maybe of a simp, so he was able to get her. She was able to get him sorry. But it's still disrespect. I know, I don't know if I could personally work with that, but I don't know. Jeezy was able to make it work. Shout out to Flying Monkey. Men commonly practice hypogamy, so a lot of red flags will get overlooked. Yeah, I have a whole video called Men Accept Dating a Woman Means Dating Down. Because if you want the man to be the provider, obviously you're, as the woman, supposed to be the recipient. If he's the protector, you're obviously the weaker one needing to be protected. So a lot of black women are so confused in their role. They're like, I want the man to be a shield, and then they take the shield and stand in front of it. It's like, how the hell are you getting the protection if the shield is behind you? No, I'm the protector and the provider and the recipient. It's like, what are you? What kind of strange creature is this? So black women are so confused in their role. That's why they find it hard to function in a relationship with a man, because a man is forced to be logical. He has to understand his role. The world will make him understand. He doesn't get the amount of passes that a woman will get. So the man is more logical anyway, but then he's forced to be more accountable as well and face the consequences of his actions. Whereas a woman is allowed to just go off in her own imagination, and everyone just calls it being emotional. And that's the joy of being a woman. You know, she has the freedom to just be free. So women of other cultures, shout out to SWP, they have the right orientation. They're groomed from a young age to be feminine, to know that they're women, to operate like a woman, and to relate to a man a certain way. And here's the thing, black women were lynched as well. Entire families were murdered, people from 5 to 80. That channel disrespects the memory of all victims. Yeah, and the victimhood is still carried on today, but a lot of the issues black women face are issues of their own making. So it is a disrespect, but the divestment movement is just covert hatred for black men. And it's a way for, shout out to Auntie who did a video called, you know, is the divestment movement a Trojan horse? It is, it's a smokescreen. It's a cover for the hatred, and it's a way for black women to openly be the right hand of white supremacy without admitting they're the right hands of white supremacy. A lot of what they do is jealousy of white women. The bleaching of the face, the hair, and it's a projection. When a black woman says black men want white women because they want to be close to white power, that is a projection. Because the woman is always going to follow the man for the most part. And this is not like back in the day where the white slave owner's wife, his daughter, could get the black man in the big house. The white man hasn't got no money either. So even a black man getting a white woman, in a lot of instances, she hasn't even got the funds to upgrade him. So this is a projection because there's no power for her to bring that black man close to. They're just two people who like each other. She happens to be white, he's black, and they build a family. The woman is the one trying to get power because the man is supposed to come with provision. So anytime you hear a black woman saying black men get white women to be close to white power, that is a projection, because it's the black woman who is jealous of the white woman. She wants the position that white woman has in the world, globally, in society. So she is trying to get the white man to be close to white power. But again, that's a digression. Oh, why did this thing jump? Don't do that. Oh, where am I? I love black guys. For me, dark meat on the other side. White guys keep me mean and lean, you know? That's why I married a white man. That's what I like. Oh my God. But again, she said, white keeps me mean and lean. Okay, now I know white meat maybe literally keeps you leaner, but also black women, shout out to Malarkey for giving me point number 6. I think I forgot point number 5, so we'll just go with this one. Black women, again, going back to the egalitarianism, they cultured black males to be effeminate. They support the LGBT. They like to support all of these effeminate movements. They want to be, you know, in bed with that kind of community. But then at the same time, they don't want their men to be, how can I say, they don't provide their men with the resources and the tools to be the leaders, the providers, the protectors, the strong masculine men they claim to want. And so here, the men don't have standards. A lot of black men are not raised to have standards because they're raised to always look up to women. Men of other races and people of other races, their culture and their orientation and their gender roles are correct. So a masculine man is not going to compete for the masculine role, and he's not going to submit or look up to a woman. So the only option he has is to go to a woman of another race. This is why we always say black women are creating the very men they complain about. When you're telling a man your masculinity is about how good you can lay it down in the bedroom, you are making that man think the only thing he has to do is sexually satisfy a woman. But other races of women will tell you, if you can't provide for your family, you're a loser. Men and women will tell other races of men this. Women culture the thugs and the D-boys, then they complain about the very culture they create. And for the men who don't fit in that category, they're not going to stay in that dysfunction. They would rather go out and find a woman who's cultured the right way than to stay in that mess. So shout out to Malarkey, because white keeps me mean and lean, because men of other races are cultured to have standards and not to be subjugated by their own women. Shout out to Kareen in the building. It's Kareen, not Karen. Them people sick divestment groups should be banned. The thing about it is this: once you start banning people, you'll also get banned. Once you start censoring people, you'll also be censored. And then all the messages get lost. So as much as we don't like them, we don't have to watch them. We don't have to support them. And once someone says, you know, I'm a Sinji fan, I'm a this fan, I'm a that fan, you just know to avoid that person because they're not well. Just leave them. But Meghan is half black and white, and I don't believe she's German. So that incident didn't affect her directly, although it's still very wrong what he did. Yeah. Shout out to Malaki for putting it twice. Thank you for saying the name right. What, Flying Monkey Inc? Which name did I say right? I used to have a black Barbie when I was younger. Yeah, and I'm sure it was nice, but now they're very raggedy. If you go online, they're just terrible. Skinhead black Barbie, nice. Yeah, go and look at the pictures. I think that the video is there. We need to get the word out about this channel. If you want to, you can. I used to have a black Barbie, which was girly. Yeah, and they are out there. But even with the toys, they're pushing a very masculine look. And like I said, the store was small, the toy section was small. You found multiple white dolls that were cute, princess looking. But you only could find one black Barbie to put, and that was the one you picked. I should have really complained. BLM Barbie. To be honest with you, if you go online right now and Google BLM Barbie, you might actually find a Barbie with some type of activist t-shirt, probably with an afro and a fist in the air. So, but they are black. Yeah. Jeannie Mai allegedly cheated on her white husband, leading to his divorcing her. That's probably part of the story, yes. She was very feminist. She was very the leader and the boss and things like that. But in addition to that, one of the biggest dividers was the fact that she was adamant she didn't want children, which is why he's so upset, because he was with her for 14 years. She refused to give him a child. Jeannie Mai's only been with Jeezy a few years and she's already pregnant. It kind of reminds me of Jen and Brad Pitt. You know, I don't know, he thought maybe he could convince her to change her mind, but she meant it when she said, I don't want kids. Okay. So that's a conversation you got to have before you say I do. A black person wouldn't get away with making a racial statement about another race. It's true. I think black men get what they deserve when they settle. Just because they're black doesn't mean accept your crap. That's true. But black men are raised to accept crap because they're told, they're gaslit with, if you were a real man. And this was kind of inspired. Shout out to CJ Carls, the high value nurse. He was asking Courtney Michelle, they did a collaboration. I might put the link in the description. Why would a woman with 4 kids by like 4 different women still go and ask for a high value man? And she gave the obvious answer, and the answer that I would have picked first, which is, you know, these women have been told they can have it all and it doesn't really matter. But it's part of that matriarchal gaslighting. By telling men what they are according to a woman's standard, you as the woman are like the controller, and you control that man's masculinity with shame. If you was a real man, you'd date me with my kids. If you was a real man, you'd be a stepdaddy. You know, even Derek Jackson came out and said, oh, single mothers are for grown men. Single mothers are for real men. So even he is trying to shame black men into taking a deal that's not ideal for them. But more to the point, it's creating a smokescreen for black women to do whatever they want and black men to be okay with it. Okay, so shout out to CJ, because that was a really good video and a conversation that he had in the black community. We are always overlooking insults and bad treatment. That's true. That's true. Megan, the social climber, but it is what it is. Yeah, she was willing to compete, so she got what she wanted. We have a bad habit in the black community of always overlooking bad treatment and statements from other races. Then we complain when we are not respected. Definitely, but who disrespects us more than each other sometimes? That's the only thing. Who disrespects us more than sometimes us as a group? That's the only problem. Boom. Shout out to Water Sniper in the building. He said, exactly, I've been saying this. Divestors are jealous of white females. A lot of these black women who are online doing a lot of talking, secretly they want to be white women. That's what womanism is. Yeah, I've been seeing some black women venture into the right-leaning white channels. They've also allowed racists on their platform, as well as, this is dangerous, not all, mind you. Yeah, I mean, like that whole thing with Sinji was a mess, but I mean, she just showed you who she was. Shout out to Sir in the building. Malaki said Jeannie Mai cheated on her husband. Black men are always sexually objected by other races, and they always boost and run after those women. Yes, yes and no, yes and no. White-owned mainstream media is going to promote black men as the good buck. You know, he can catch a ball, he can run fast, he's got that ultra masculine rap swag, and you know, he's notorious for the BBC. But to a degree, everybody is fetishized to an extent. And although black men have been fetishized, as long with, which is something I can't say, catch these teeth, black men and black women have both been fetishized. But the tide is turning because the borders are opening up and more people are interacting on a one-on-one level. And yeah, on the one hand, you have the fetish, that word beginning with F, the fetishization, and I didn't bite my tongue, you see. But what other races of women understand is, I need to get me and mine first. I need to get my bag. I need to get my high value man. I don't care what you guys are saying about this group of men. You see that one black man right there? He's got what I want. He's got what I like. He's got what I need. And I'm taking him home. You know, black women will give up on a good man that they have at home because their collective of girlfriends will tell them, why are you with a black man? Even though he's treating her just fine. Turn this thing off, man. Machine, be silent. I thought it was going to take longer to start spinning. Okay, so yes, sexual fetishization is a real thing. It is something that irks you a little bit, especially if you got a guy. We were talking about this before. You know, if a guy says, "Oh, I really only date black women," to me that's a red flag, because I feel like that is sexual fetishization. Because date and deal with is one thing, but are you wifing them up? And we know that in the States there's been a massive rise in mixed children being born out of wedlock, and these women becoming single mothers to men of other races. So just because these men are dealing with black women, for example, they are not necessarily marrying them. Okay, so no matter how much they say we're divesting, you're still not getting the result you want. Everybody has a fetish, so I'm not going to demonize somebody, but can you get respect? Can you get cooperation? Because other races of women, they are individualistic in that sense. They don't care about the rest. I don't care what you say about all these men. If this one treats me right and he's got what I want, I'm going for him. Black women as want the collectivist argument. Well, if the collective of black men are not doing everything we like, we don't want any of them. So again, if the door is shut for the black man with the black woman, what's he supposed to do? Die alone? And I'm not saying that to Afropolitan, I'm just saying that to anybody who would say this. If you really don't like black men, go and get a white man and let that black man go be happy with somebody else. Because no one's got time to waste. Shout out to Kareen. The way she treated her first husband is the way she may treat Jeezy. So good luck to them, but they ain't a good representation of an ideal couple. No, definitely not. But I definitely would say that there's some that we can eat some meat and spit some bone here. There's some things we can definitely see in Jeannie Mai now that black women can take note. I'm not saying bring Jeannie Mai in the conversation, but obviously, I don't want to do a hate stream on Lapeef. Let's talk, but anyway, no, just leave it. Just leave. If you are a Sinji fan, you're definitely a Klansman. Shout out to Cortez Smith in the building. She said it on the show a few years back. Yeah, let them talk so they can't ignore or deny what's being said. Again, the divestors with their hate speech and their hate narrative, you're just making it easier for black men to leave. That's all they're doing. Because you're not going to shame them, you're not going to browbeat them, you're not going to malign them, you're not going to cajole them. It doesn't matter what you say on those panels. No matter how much you call them bullet bags and conquered and defeated, they're like, that's fine. Go be great with a white man and I'll go find me a white woman. End of conversation. So these divestors, if they really think they're doing something to make black men stay, the only ones who're staying is like the homosexuals and like the broke pro-blacks and things like that who call them Queen Mother Goddess. Apart from that, ain't no black men really taking them seriously. Ain't no black men taking them seriously with their raggedy talk. In fact, some people actually record the divesting videos to keep a record. Yeah, I heard some strange. I told you the one I heard about the guy talking in there, but he's got dookie in his underpants and all this rubbish. I was like, these are grown women with kids. BLM Barbie comes with a pile of bricks to throw at police. Bro, it would be funny if it wasn't. If it was a joke, but it's possible. You know, BLM Barbie might come with like riot gear and a plaque. Shout out to the Hoodservative. All looks scripted to me. It's Hollywood. Yeah, you can't take any of that stuff seriously. I think there's somebody at the door. No black women go far left, only far right. Yeah, so I'm just going to get through these comments and then I'm going to have to scoot. No black women go far left, only far right. I would say the opposite. A lot of black women are very liberal. Most of them are not really truly conservative. Melanin Poppins, you should make that Barbie. That would be a good. Oh, while wearing blonde weave and wigs. That's the juxtaposition right there. He can catch a ball and run fast. Is that not what he's for? Catching balls and rapping. Nobody sexually objectifies us like, yo, that's true. Shout out to Kazama. We don't have enough venom for the outside people who disrespect us, but we're angry and aggressive with the most with one another. That has to be rearranged. That's true. True, I think the over sexualization has gotten too much, men and women alike, for sure. But again, we buy into it, especially through the entertainment that the people above sanction. There's a reason why somebody like Meg Thee Stallion can sit down with Maxine Waters and people like Cardi B and are going to the White House or something instead of somebody with sense. Shout out to everybody. Yes, it's definitely a red flag. Usually when they are caught with a man saying racist things, the men are pretty much left-leaning, like the McClure twins, dad, for example. I'm not familiar with that, but they're going to sweep that under the rug. Divesting to single motherhood. But that's the single motherhood they're going to ignore and they're not going to talk about, because only black men do that, remember? It's funny how we always catch them dating racists, but they only complain about white women that we get. I'm good. Right, let's get through these last comments and then I'm out of here. Other races of women focus on black men's demeanor and personality. It's 8:23 here. Go back to bed. No, you see, you guys in your American time. First and foremost, some of you are talking to me, so I can't go back to bed at night even. And then it's actually 1:30 in the afternoon. So you get up. I present Big Truck series reviews as my evidence. Okay, I'll go check it out. Shout out to Big Truck. These men are left-leaning usually. Oh no. Where am I? Shout out to Malaki. Many black women have a mixed race child fetish, not a white man fetish. And you see, I was going to say that, Keanu Reeves, I always wondered why his name was Keanu and he's got eyes like that. And it's because his father is a Chinese Hawaiian. If an Asian woman has children with a white man, he's got the face, the child has the complexion, but still has a little bit of that look. So before there was a stigma about getting with a black man, because obviously the child's clearly going to be black, but with a white man, you could still give the illusion that this child is fully Asian. But now the gate is down. A lot of these women don't care about their culture. They're moving on. Everybody needs to go and look to see if they can find a BLM Barbie. If you do, let me know, because that would be quite interesting. I'm sure they prefer Brad to be racist. Yeah, because in their mind, they'll say he's dominant. I literally had one woman tell me, I wouldn't mind a Middle Eastern man, even if he beats me, because at least he's going to put his foot down, like lay down the law. And I said, but black men on average are not beating you. So it looks they're creating the very men they complain about. If he ain't racist, a lot of black women won't get with him. Is she even wearing one? Oh, did I just say that? BLM Barbie comes naked. It's like, my body, my choice. Naked doesn't mean yes. I'm heading to Panama for my queen. Shout out to Boondock Paint. First time in the house. Oh gosh, Cortez says Panama is terrible. You guys have to argue it out. That's that question in terms of the white man they are with. When people say they divest, try say it is usually with a far right white man, but never a far left. Yes, Rebecca, I saw you before, but I had the Bluetooth headphones in and it wasn't working. Right, we're at the bottom, so I could see you, but I couldn't hear you. You couldn't hear me. Boondock, some of my family lives there. Ask the men there and they will tell you. Valentin said, naked doesn't mean yes. It's like slut walk Barbie. With like 2 pieces of sticky tape over the nipples, a shaved head, and like a tattoo across the forehead. What my sister was screaming, black men don't protect black women whilst our black fathers has raised us in a very secure home. This is the programming, Rebecca. This is the programming. Once people leave the presence of normal human beings and they start engaging in social media, they get crazy indoctrination. The Middle Eastern men in the delis and the bodegas are banging black women and giving them the gift that, oh God. Well, special edition Barbies are usually collector's items. You don't want to be giving that to your daughter. So I really appreciate everybody who came through. If you are new, please, and you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Share the video with somebody who needs to see it. Pick a hand, any hand, hit it, give it a big thumbs up or a thumbs down. And yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Thanks for everybody. Have a good Sunday, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.